Hey lemon squeezies, just coming through to do my 1 week postpartum video, and just as a heads up, the baby's not going to be in this video. She's in there with her grandmother taking a nap right now, so I'm just taking advantage of the time alone to get this video done. And I was actually 1 week postpartum yesterday, and so today I'm 1 week and 1 day postpartum. And I'll probably be recording her 1 week update here in a little bit. So as a second heads up, I just want to let you guys know that some of this stuff may be TMI for you, but y'all know how I am. I'm a keep it real kind of person, so I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm just going to tell you like it is. So if that's going to be a problem, you might not want to watch my video. So as far as symptoms, since I had the baby, my swelling in my feet has not gone down. Well, it goes down at night, and then when I wake up in the morning, my feet swell back up, or as soon as I eat something. And it could be anything. The other day for breakfast, I had a bowl of cereal, I had some Frosted Flakes, I had 3 strawberries, and a glass of chocolate milk. And by the time I finished eating that, my feet were back swollen again. So I've definitely been watching my salt intake. But even in doing that, my feet still swell. Today's the first day that it hasn't been really bad. But I slept with my feet propped up last night, which has never really done much for me before in the past. But I'm getting so frustrated that I'm just looking for anything to help with it. I'm trying to keep that light over my shoulder from like glaring in the camera. So swelling is still an issue that I've been having. Gas and constipation. When I was in the hospital, gas was a big problem for me, so I was asking for the gas X pills, and they would help a lot, especially with my incision. You can't really bear down, so even though I felt the need to pass gas, I couldn't because it hurt too bad. So that helped out a lot. So since I've been home, I've been having the same issue, and today was really bad for me. It was like stabbing pains is the best way I could describe it. And I think the reason why is because I had cabbage the other day. My sister barbecued for me, and she made cabbage blossoms on the grill, and they were so good. And it didn't dawn on me until after I ate it that my midwife had told me to stay away from greens because greens do produce gas. And the constipation, when I was in the hospital, they asked me if I wanted a suppository, but after everything that I went through, I wasn't really in the mood to have a suppository. So they started giving me stool softeners. And the day that I actually was discharged from the hospital, Sunday, I felt the urge to have my first bowel movement. And I went to the restroom and had my phone and everything. And I was about to, go ahead and handle business. And the baby's pediatrician came in the room. So I'm like yelling out the door. He's a man. So I'm like yelling out the door. I'm like, I'll be out in a few minutes, thinking he's going to leave and come back. No, he stayed, and he woke up the baby. So that ruined that. And it wasn't for another 2 days after that before I was actually able to get that old feeling back. So I finally had to break down and ask Pop's mom if she had anything. She gave me some milk of magnesia. It took probably at least a good 8 to 12 hours for it to work, but when it worked, it worked. And I felt much better. It was a lot less pressure on my incision. My stomach went down. Like, I just felt a lot better. It was easier for me to move around. Like, I was having a lot of problems getting in and out of bed and stuff like that. So after having that, it felt a lot better. And they actually gave me a prescription for stool softeners when I left the hospital. So I've been religiously taking those to keep that from happening again. I've been very emotional. I sing to the baby and I cry. I watch stuff on TV and I cry. I found out that my nephew just got his first haircut and I cried. I've been very emotional lately. Like, I will cry at the drop of a dime. My carpal tunnel has been a pain in the ass, to say the least. There's been a couple days this week that my left arm has been completely numb, arm and all 5 fingers. And that one really didn't bother me much during my pregnancy, but since having her, my left arm has been like completely numb, which is hard when you're like trying to breastfeed but your arm is asleep, or changing diapers and stuff like that. That's kind of hard. And my right hand though, that's the hand that I use for support, like to pull myself out of bed or something like that. And I go to grab onto like the little handicap bar, and I get that lightning feeling in my wrist and in my thumb. So I've almost fallen a couple of times just from that. But I guess, you know, as time goes on, it's getting better. But I can't wait until I don't have to deal with this anymore. I know I had talked to Yandy, and she said that she was 6 weeks postpartum at the time, and she was still dealing with it. So I'm really hoping that I don't have to deal with it on a long-term basis, because it really is a pain in the ass. Also, since having the baby, I have wet myself almost every single day, in one form or another. And a lot of it is because I get sudden urges to pee. I'll go from being completely fine to I have to go right now. And then, you know, not being able to just jump up to go to the restroom. And then, like I told you guys in my last video, having like that sticky tape on my stomach and my underwear being like glued to my stomach. And then when you go to bend, a nice little gush will come out. So I've peed on the floor, I've peed on the toilet, I've peed on myself. The last couple of days, not so much, but every once in a while I still will. I talked to the doctor about it, and the doctor basically just said it's just a part of motherhood, and hopefully that's something that my body can recuperate from. But as of right now, I'm having some issues with that, and that's super sexy. I've been having headaches since I got home. I think it's a migraine. I haven't had migraine since I was a teenager. I was a highly emotional teenager. I would just sob and sob for hours, and I would get really bad migraines that would last for days. I would get tunnel vision, sensitivity to light, nausea, stuff like that. I think this is one of those migraines. The sensitivity to light, definitely. But like right here on my forehead, it feels like somebody hit me with a hammer, and it's felt like that for like the past 3 days. And it comes and goes, and I've tried taking something for it. I'm not really a take something for it type person, but it hurts so bad that I wake up crying. So I took something for it the other day, and it took a couple of hours for it to finally go away, but it did go away. And sometimes it'll be gone for 15 minutes and it'll come right back. So I'm not really sure what that's about, but my midwife told me if it gets too bad just to go to the emergency room, because she's still worried about my swelling and stuff like that. They've been checking my urine for protein and all of that still, and they haven't found anything, but she just wants to be on the safe side. So I've also been dealing with like sweating profusely, and then going from one extreme to the other and shivering. And I know it's just my body trying to re-regulate itself, but I wake up completely soaked through all of my clothes, partially with sweat and the other half breast milk, almost every day. And then if I have a beverage, I'll be like shivering out of control where I can't stop, and it makes my incision really hurt because, you know, my abs are tight. So that is not pleasant at all. But my doctor says that sweating will help get some of the fluid out of my system as far as the swelling and stuff like that. So she suggested me going out and like sitting in the sun. Like right now today, it feels like it's 103 degrees outside. So she suggested me going outside and sitting in the sun and sweating, which is not what I'm really in the mood to do, but she says that it would possibly help with my swelling. And then too, for the baby with her jaundice, which I'll talk about in her update video, you know, the sun is good for her too, but it's just way too hot. Like, it's ridiculous. And then, like I said, I've been leaking breast milk like crazy. I wake up in the middle of the night and there's like a huge wet stain on the sheets, where I've leaked through my bra, through my nursing pad, through my shirt, or whatever I have on at the time. Or like I'll be nursing the baby and she'll pull off and she'll be asleep, and I'll look down and she'll have a handful of breast milk, or her toes will be completely wet. Like, I'm producing a lot of milk, which makes me feel like super mom, but it's pretty icky. Everything I own right now smells like breast milk. You walk in the house and you can smell me and the baby as soon as you walk in the house. Like, it smells like baby in here. And then I've been extremely thirsty. I was always thirsty during my pregnancy, but it's worse now that I'm breastfeeding. Like, I constantly have to have something to drink by me. So I've drank 2 cases of water in the last week. We're planning on getting some more tonight, and I finished off probably like a half a jug of like the water that, like the water cooler thingy. I've drank at least half of that. I've drank at least a gallon of orange juice. I try to stay away from soda because of the sodium in it. but I've had like at least a half a case of soda. Like, I just constantly have to have something to drink. Still eating ice a lot. But extremely thirsty. My incision is doing well. I had that checked out at my appointment when I went on Wednesday. No signs of infection, no swelling, no redness, anything like that. So the incision is doing its thing. But it's underneath a part of my stomach that kind of laps over, so I can't really see it without lifting my stomach, which is painful. So I have Pop check it for me a lot. The doctor said to have it looked at least once a day. That way any changes can be noticed, you know, almost right away. I need to sit down. I'm like leaning over the edge of the bed. Bleeding, I didn't really have a big problem with. I only bled for about 4 days after I had her. So maybe for like another day and a half after I got home. But I haven't been bleeding at all since then. Which I've heard of women bleeding for 2-3 weeks after they have a baby. So I only bled for about 4 days. And it never was super, super heavy. It was just weird having a period after not having one for so long. It was like weird. Like, you know, when you're in early pregnancy, the last thing you want to see when you wipe is blood. So, you know, you're constantly checking the toilet paper, and it becomes a habit throughout your pregnancy. So, like, the first couple of times that I checked and saw it, it, like, scared me. Like, I had to remember, oh, yeah, I'm postpartum now. It's okay. As far as my healing, I'm definitely getting better day by day. But I have my good days and my bad days. If I sleep on my side, I tend to have more problems in the morning. Getting up and out of the bed is pretty hard. Pop has to help me out and into the bed a lot. Getting up out of chairs, getting down into chairs, getting in and out of the truck. We have an Avalanche, and that's a pretty big truck. And thankfully, on the way in, I can grab onto like the little door handle thingy and lift myself into the van or into the truck. But getting out, the day that we took the baby to the hospital to get her blood work checked, what was that? The Monday after I got discharged. I got discharged on Sunday that following day. I went to go get out and I had on leggings, and I just completely slid out of the back seat and like landed on my feet really hard, and it hurt. Like, to fall that far. Like, I just doubled over and just kind of looked around to see if anybody saw me, and nobody did. But this incision, it still hurts a lot. Even just trying to walk too fast or anything like that. Like, my body will definitely let me know when it's time to slow down. So yeah, like I said, I had my midwife appointment on Wednesday, and we didn't really do much. We pretty much just Googled over the baby. And they had me take like some little questionnaire to make sure that I wasn't like suicidal or anything like that. My weight, I was so excited to get on the scale. I couldn't wait to get on the scale. I've actually lost 12 pounds. I never really talked about my weight in the videos, and that wasn't purposefully. It was just that I never made note of it, and I didn't want to be just making up numbers. See, I'm sweating like crazy right now. And I'm out of breath. But at the end of my pregnancy, the day before I delivered, I weighed 207 pounds. And I started off at like 167. Right in that area somewhere. I don't remember exactly, but right in that area. I know I was like 158, 167, like right in there somewhere. And that was when I was at the fertility clinic. But since delivering, I have already lost 12 pounds. So go breastfeeding. And then, like I said, those cold sweats at night probably doesn't, you know, that probably is pretty helpful. I'm gonna grab my ice real quick. Hold on. We did some blood work too while I was there, just to check my thyroid and my iron levels and all that stuff. They gave me iron when I left the hospital, but because I was so constipated and it said on there that it could cause constipation, I didn't want to take it. And then once I read like the pamphlet that comes with it, it said, you know, to consult your doctor or midwife if you're pregnant or breastfeeding before taking it. So I wanted to wait and talk to her first, which I did. And she was like, go ahead and take it, but make sure you take those stool softeners with it because you're definitely going to need them. So she ended up calling me yesterday, and she was like, I got your blood work back. Your iron levels are low. Please make sure that you're taking it. She was like, I remember us talking about it, but I don't remember exactly what you said. So she was like, if you're taking the iron and your levels are this low, we have a problem. So she was like, you know, make sure you give me a call back and let me know. So I just let her know, like, no, I haven't been taking it, but I have started taking it since talking to you. I didn't want to take it until I talked to you. So she wants to recheck my blood work when I go back in 5 weeks for my 6-week checkup. So that's pretty much it as far as what's going on with me. But I did want to give a quick list of things that we're seeing in a lot. I know I didn't get a chance to do what's in my hospital bag video or anything like that. Partially because she was born 3 weeks early, and because I was waiting to get some other stuff to add to it before I did the video. But there was like a list of things that people tell you that you don't need in the hospital, but they're like, you know, I know I don't need this, but I'm going to pack it anyway. And I was one of those people who packed it anyway. But there's a lot of things that I really did not need to bring that just cluttered up my room. And some of those things were underwear. Like I said, they provided me with like the underwear. They're basically like pantyhose with the legs cut off. They were way more comfortable than my underwear from home, especially around my incision. So those I didn't even wear while I was there. Pads, excuse me, sanitary pads. That's something I knew that they would provide for me, and they were like the hospital grade kind, which weren't very comfortable, but they also provided me with the always overnights as well, which is what most people bought. So I basically had the choice of which was most comfortable to wear. So in those first couple of days when I was just laying in bed, I used the hospital kind, but once I was up moving around, I used the always. Diapers, I never needed diapers in the hospital. They provided me with Pampers. And then when I left the hospital, you know, they always give you a pack to go home with, which I told you guys I would tell you one day about my discharge story. That was a fiasco. But they knew I was really, really pissed off, so they sent me home with a bunch of diapers, like newborn size and size 1. So I left the hospital with like 6 packs of Pampers. And I know I'm supposed to be cloth diapering, and the Marconium is gone now. But I haven't been home. I'm still at Pop's parents' house, and all my cloth diapers are home, and even though they're prepped and everything, I just decided to wait until I get home. I don't want to run up their water bill or anything like that, so I'm just going to wait till I get home to start cloth diapering. So I haven't had any problems with the disposables, and then I have so many of them I might as well use them. I don't want them to go to waste. The nose bulb thingy, didn't need one of those. I got like 4 of those at the hospital, but I brought her whole first aid kit with me, which she got like 3 of them at her baby shower. So I had brought one of them with me to the hospital and never even opened it. Nipple cream, that's something that I knew I was going to be breastfeeding, and I was going to get like one of the tubes of Lancino. They actually provided me with Lancino at the hospital, and they sent me home with a bunch too. I just asked the lactation consultant if I could get some, and she brought me, like, they're little tiny tubes, but she brought me like a whole handful of them. And I actually haven't needed them since getting home. In the hospital, I used them several times a day because she was just starting to nurse, but I haven't had any cracking or bleeding or anything like that. Like, they were peeling. Like, I noticed like these little brown specks around her lips, and then I realized that it was like skin from my breast that was like shedding. But it didn't never crack or anything, never got like crusty or bled or painful or anything like that. So nipple cream, I have it in my diaper bag. I've used it maybe once or twice since being home. But that's something that I planned on buying that, you know, they provided for me. Breast pads, they sent me home with a pack of breast pads. I just used the last set of those last night. So I definitely need more, but no need to buy them and take them to the hospital with me. And then, like, I really wanted a Hooter hider thingy, but I've just been using a receiving blanket instead. So that's just something else that I would have purchased that I would have spent money on that I really didn't need. And I probably will get one, you know, as she gets older, we'll be in public more often and stuff like that. But for right now, I don't need it. I just use receiving blankets. And then nursing clothes, like nursing bras, nursing camis and stuff like that. I haven't had any of that stuff since having her, and I've been completely fine. I've just been lifting my shirt, and I wear sports bras so I could just lift it up, you know, and then lift it back, or, you know, lower it back down when I'm done. So that's all the stuff that I planned on taking to the hospital, or did take to the hospital with me, that I really didn't need. So I'm going to record her 1 week update once she wakes up so I can show her off, because I know you guys want to see her. But other than that, I'm about to take a nap because my head hurts. But take it easy, lemon squeezy. I'll see y'all around.